Hello everyone, it's Veroosh and welcome to my channel. I thought I would do the chime for you guys in the beginning because several of you said you really liked it and I really like it as well. So I'm excited to be here with you guys for this fourth and last video for the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction. And today we're going to talk about air signs. So if you have placements in the air signs, then this video may be for you. But if you're inspired to watch it with us, by all means, enjoy. And so my joke for today for you guys was, I need a breath of fresh air. So hi everyone, I hope you're doing well, and yeah, welcome to the show. So I decided to do Libra first. Water, fire, and earth have been finished, so you can go and watch them now. These are full-length videos, which means that, you know, when people do sign-by-sign videos, then this is the same type of video. It's about 40 minutes long each. So go and watch them and enjoy them. I hope you like them. I like this format. The reason I posted it this way is if I posted it one by one, then simply it would not all go out in time. We're already past the exact conjunction date by one day. I also did a video yesterday for you guys about the conjunction. It's an all sign and it has much faster messages, so you may want to watch that as well. In that video, I talked about the astrology from a slightly different perspective, and I think that you will be interested in that video speaking about what happened with the astrology. So first off, Libras, Sun, Moon, and Rising, welcome so much. This is the Brautele deck. We know we love this deck. It's a really beautiful deck, and I hope you enjoy it. If the screen is a little bit dark right now, the sun's about to hit this area, so it's going to get really bright. So if it's a little dark for you, that's about to change. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at messages for Libra. So this is actually the Strength or Energy card, the card of Leo. And so this corresponds with the Thoth deck, not with the Thoth deck, with the trump of the tarot cards for the Strength card, the Leo card. So let's see the next energy. We have Reaching. I think what this is saying is that you have new potential that you can achieve at this time. There's been a consolidation period in your life for the last little while. You went through some difficult times, Libra, for quite a while, and soon you will be able to achieve new goals, set new paths, reach in a new direction. Let's see the next message. So we have the Divine Protection, number 24, and Offering. Okay, so this is the card of the Hanged Man. It's actually ruled by Neptune, so this is a second pair of cards today for the energy of the conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune. I think that you're sort of branching out on your own on something a bit, Libra. And so I think that you question whether or not you will have the support that you want, the support that you need. And so I think that you're going to be getting it. I think that there's support coming your way and that you have people that will watch out for you in the directions that you are going. Let's see the next message, and this is the third and last one before we talk about the astrology and do some tarot. We have Coming Out and Healing. Okay, so there's a real emergence energy here, and I've been telling you guys about this a lot, but I suppose that this is just another step or another stage towards your progression, towards your movement forward. The conjunction between Neptune and Jupiter is actually on your descendant point. And so descendant means that that's where the sky is going down into the lower part of the zodiac. So literally that's the point at which Jupiter and Neptune were going below the horizon. That lower part has a lot to do with the self. It has a lot to do with your personal experiences as opposed to experiences that you have in the world. And I think that there's a lot of energy here of reaching in, and then after that, reaching out. The North Node is in your 8th house, which means that you're very prone to make drastic life changes at this time. I have my oracle cards from the angels. Why don't we pick an angel card for everyone? So we have the message of acceptance. Message of acceptance, strength, energy. I think that coming to terms with aspects of who you are and aspects of things that you have grown into is a huge part of this. So after going through some difficult times, after experiencing difficult moments, it sounds that you are coming to terms with those things and you're elevating yourself and you're branching out and moving forward. The next message is divine protection and offering, which is the energy of contentment. Satisfaction. I think that you'll be very happy with the people who support you moving forward. Many of you, I feel, are questioning who is actually with you in this. Which direction are you actually going? Or, in the direction that you're going, is there someone who's actually with you through this? With the Hanged Man, this is saying that if at this time you are not necessarily experiencing so much support from others, this is a delay card, which means that there's a divine timing to things, and there's a time of its own system or its own way comes into reality. So I think divine protection can mean like from God, but it can also mean from other people. I think it's more literal in this instant, which means that you'll be happy with the support that you get in the direction you're going. It's almost like, I feel almost like this energy is like you're going to school for your first day and I'm your mom and I'm telling you, yes, there will be kids there that are going to like you. And you're about to set off, like you're in grade 8 or something and you're just starting high school or something like that. And so you're nervous about who you are going to become and you're about to become so many wonderful things. So there's this real energy of, like wonderful path in front of you, a wonderful start. So we have coming out and healing is next. And that's the energy of joy. So there's definitely this emergence here. Emergence of happiness. I think that, we talk about this a lot. So how we are affected by circumstances and situations that are with us. How do I say this? Excuse me. Let me try again. So after prolonged experiences to difficult circumstances, they wear on us a bit, right? So I'm really getting this feeling here in which you are emerging from a mind state that has been inflicted upon you by circumstances that may have worn you out to a certain degree. And what you're finding is that it's a really beautiful energy of happiness and joy that is meeting you there after a prolonged period of stress or difficulty or worry. So it looks very hopeful and very, very hopeful and very positive. So I want to show you guys the astrology. I did the astrology yesterday too, so you may want to check out both. That is the the greatest conjunction video. Not the great conjunction, but the greatest conjunction, Jupiter and Neptune. So I thought we would, I wanted to go more in depth on the astrology, and we did that yesterday. But here is a second look at your chart. And so this conjunction happened in your 6th house, and it's happening now until April 22nd. But it's the 6th house is for you specifically, whether you're a sun, moon, or a rising. It's not necessarily like a house that is, how do you say, it's an understated house in your life, but it's almost kind of like the foundation from which a lot of things begin. It's the house where the self, your internal space, starts to meet the world, which is the descendant line. So the sky zodiac moves in this direction, right? So essentially, if you're have a Libra placement, specifically those of you who have Libra rising, at the time of your birth, Jupiter and Neptune had just gone below the zodiac. So just below, not the zodiac, the horizon. So you have this dipping energy here, but this is actually the 6th house, the end of the area of the chart, the lower part of the chart in which you're working through the self. And so this is like a consolidation period right before the self meets the outside world of the upper houses. So that's kind of interesting. So this conjunction is that final phase of incubation, that final phase of getting ready for something, the time to take a step in a new direction and go in a new direction and seek it out. So very exciting time for you. Also, I mentioned in the intro the North Node, which is here in your 8th house, and that's significant. This is a sextile energy between Jupiter and the North Node, and Neptune and the North Node. So this means that there's a lot opening up for you through change at this time. The 8th house has a lot to do with change. So many of you may be going through different levels of change and opportunities to change. You should embrace them. Some of you might be going through certain degrees of financial hardship. So it's not hardship. I'm not saying like things are going to be bad, but if things are financially rocky or stressful at this time, the South Node is here. So don't be afraid of the potential, like being a little bit stressed out about money or working through certain issues or facing certain issues, financial issues at this time, because you're supposed to set yourself free from attachments with this type of transit. And with the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction, it's really giving you a far reach towards new opportunities, new directions, and I think you should take that path. So I'll tell you guys, I always tell you guys when there's a transit or something going on in your specific chart that I think is really workable towards good outcomes, and this is like a really good path forward. So if you're feeling very prompted to make a change, transform something, let go of something, let go of a relationship especially that's holding you back, this is your time to lead forward and to make some moves. Mars is about to enter into Pisces, I think today or tomorrow. So you're going to have a lot of energy in your day-to-day for the next little while. It's a really nice transit, but like I said, for the air signs in general, so if you're Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, if you're watching the whole thing, this is a good kind of way of thinking about this. This conjunction is important for all of us because it is very it's very ethereal, it's very celestial, it has a lot to do with goodness, and it has to do a lot to do with humankind. But it is for you in your placement, it is in a position that is not necessarily like your front and center. It was definitely strongest for the water signs and then to some degree the earth signs, but fire and air it's still very important for all of us, but for air signs it's a little bit more muted. So it's still impactful, it's still changing your life, but it's less involved or intense. But if you are having an intense experience with this, it's very likely that you have lots of water in your chart besides the air, or you have a lot of earth, So that's the astrology. Essentially, let me summarize for those of you who are just learning astrology. Basically, this is a real prompt to change certain things. Libra has been on the precipice of changing things a lot recently, which means that you have been tempted to change things a lot. And so you have been tempted to change things a lot over the last, like a year now. And it's been going back and forth as the concentration in Capricorn increased and decreased throughout last year. But now this is really about moving out and connecting everything that you have worked on the inside, meeting that to the outside world. So it's a real emergence energy, and hopefully the conjunction between Neptune and Jupiter help you to really push that out and get a really good start. Okay, so why don't we take a look at your tarot cards? And the way I'm reading this is it's a really long reading, and when I designed it, this is the home stretch, this is the final one. I sort of overshot my shot, to be honest. These are such long readings, and I hope they help you. So what we're doing is doing a spread for every single one of the houses. So it's essentially the horoscope spread, but it's 3 cards for each, and then an angel card, just to get familiar with how each house is interacting with this conjunction. I thought it was warranted to do a big reading for you guys because, of course, this is a very rare conjunction, very, very rare. It's only going to happen once in your lifetime. It's not going to happen in your children's lifetime in the sign of Pisces, which both Jupiter and Neptune rule. So I thought it was a good time to do this. I think these videos are going to be relevant for the rest of your life. Not sorry to be such a, so dramatic about it, but it really are messages that are far reaching. So I hope they help, and I hope you do watch for any clusters in your chart, which means that anywhere in your chart where there's a lot of placements, even if they're not the top 3, the sun, moon, rising, watch for that. So if you have a ton in Taurus, watch Taurus, even if your sun, moon, or rising is not Taurus, okay? All right, so let's begin. So first house. So this is the house of the self. Oh, this is very nice. Yeah, I think you're being guided by a special direction. And then we have the 5 of Swords. So really fight any doubt from the past. I really sense that many of you have been through a lot. And a lot of my clients coming through have had heavy Libra placements. You guys sort of come in chunks. So sometimes, like when Chiron was leaving Pisces, especially at 29 degrees, I had so many people who were born with Chiron under Pisces. Right now, I've been seeing a lot of Libras come through. So I know you guys have been through a lot. And I think that the strategy that you're supposed to meet this energy with is like to not let the past get you down, and really fight any kind of thoughts or ideas that are heavy for you. The next message is the Ace of Cups. You have a lot of new beginnings. It's basically, I'm trying to encourage you to have a fresh mind towards the circumstances and situations that are ahead of you. So this Ace of Cups is like, really have that open heart, have that really yes man sort of perspective. So I mentioned, I don't remember what video I mentioned this in. There's a movie with Jim Carrey, and I only saw a bit of it, but I like the concept. This guy says yes to everything. And so I thought that was pretty funny, and I thought it was pretty fun. So it's that, but it points to a really interesting phenomenon that we often are protectionist towards the outside world. And it's so interesting when we remind ourselves of the fact that most people tend to be, protectionist as human survival biology kind of stuff. How it's funny when you just switch a little bit towards being more open or saying yes more. So you really want to have that hopeful aspect, even if it doesn't make sense at this time. I'm really glad I'm doing yours last. The moon is still in Virgo, I think, but it's about to enter your sign in the next couple days. So inspiration. I'm just really feeling like the energy's really, it's good. It's the clarity of air. Maybe it's Saturn that's really helping this energy. But we have, inspiration. I really feel as though there's a lot. This is the first house, so this is the self. This is the psychology. So there's definitely a lot ahead of you. There's a lot of potential there. I think that any idea that you have going on, any ambition that you have is doable at this time. And whatever's truly in your heart will really come to fruition. And yet you have been worn and torn by life's experiences, especially the last while, especially with the square to Pluto, right? It's been a little bit intense. So I think it's on you now to sort of break out of the shell and really not hold back, and any kind of old belief systems that you kind of invested yourself into, step away from that now, okay? So now we have the second house. So this is where we mentioned, I wanted to go for an angel card right away. This is where we mentioned that you're working through some financial things, and this is a very strong angle to Neptune and Jupiter. And this placement and position and angle is how do you say this? It's good for you, but it can be intense. Let's say intense. So what intense means is that at this time, there are things that you need to work through with regard to your money, with regard to your material prosperity. The way you have approached things need to be worked through again. And so this is trining Neptune and Jupiter. Some of the things you want may be much more expensive to do than the way that you've been managing your finances. So it's kind of going through different experiences that make you confront your money situation, your assumptions about money, those kinds of things. We'll talk about more. We'll talk about it more when we do the node videos, which means the videos about the nodes. But yeah, so just know that if you're having like some pressure financially, and this wouldn't bring about necessarily terrible things, but it would in some way, if you are doing something that's not the best right now with regard to your money, if you have bad habits or something like that, this can feel kind of like the pressure cooker is on, right? Okay, so here's your card, Five of Pentacles. This is a download, so this is a message for you. It really feels as though the download is that maybe over-reliance on others, and I think that that's been a theme for you for a while. So over-reliance on others, trusting in others too much. I think this is more of an independent transit for you, a breakaway transit. So yeah, break away. Three of Swords. Yeah, I feel like you put too much faith in somebody else, especially financially. And then we have Two of Wands. I think it's a life lesson. Some of you guys are working through life lessons, trusting someone too much, putting too much money in their direction. So be cautious, be optimistically cautious. And we have Peace. But then Peace is nice because it's like, I feel like a situation got on top of you. A situation became too hard to deal with, or you agreed to do something with someone, and they literally let you down, or once both names were signed on the contract or whatever it was, once the hands were shook or shaken, once the hands were shaken, then the monster came out in whoever you trusted. So the Peace to me says that it's done, whatever has been done, and I think you're edging away from it, so moving away from it. So that's nice. But yeah, it just feels like you lost control in a situation because of someone else, and so now you have a different perspective. So maybe there's a lot of hope in your reading here. There's a lot of like, where will I go? This 8th grade, going to high school for the first time. I don't know if the States 8th grade is the first year of high school, but in Canada it was. So yeah, just going to high school for the first time, like what the ambition, the hope, and the future. Okay, so next we have the 3rd house, which is, I'm using the 3rd house regarding community, things close to you, things close to your just environment, neighborhood, Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, right? So 3rd house, it's kind of close. It's not necessarily the best angle in your chart with regard to the conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. That's because you're very outward searching. You're looking at the bright world, maybe checking out social media, maybe looking abroad and being inspired by those things. It's not so much about what's happening close to you. It's very much, your focus is very, very broad. Neptune has a lot to do with the world, the social world of human beings, which means that it's very focused on not necessarily the details, but the bigger picture. So it really encourages you to see more abroad, right? Okay, so we have Two of Cups, inspiration, very, very inspired. I have a feeling that some of you have seen something or perceived something somewhere far away, and I think that you've begun to really like something and admire it, and therefore I think that you don't necessarily have so many people close to you who like the same thing in the same way you do. So you're very excited about, I'm not sure, some tradition or some type of, practice or some kind of philosophy in the world. And I don't think that you can relate it so easily to the people near you. And I think that there's that separation. Okay, so we have the Justice card, which is balance. I just think that you will find your way with this. You're very, how do you say this? When you only want to talk about Europe, let's say, because you're fascinated by Europe all of a sudden, and you live in North America, not everyone around you wants to talk about Europe all the time. So you kind of find yourself without something to talk about, without something to refer to. But I think that will, and there's I sense a frustration saying, oh, I wish I had someone to speak with about this. But I think that that will level itself out, that will work out. This is your card. Something's going to come into your life that is going to satisfy the urge. So that thing that you really enjoy, you'll find your way to it. I sense alienation from where you want to be in life or where you want to go to. There's a restlessness here, and it's definitely accentuated by the North Node in the 8th house, and just your general transits. You're very much thinking, broad. You may be dissatisfied with your close partners over the last few years and over the next couple years. So you may be a little bit get me out of here, kind of energy. Okay, so here is your angel card, Depth. So you have something that resonates for you, and I don't think that things that are near you necessarily support that. So you have this Hermit. Hermit is ruled by Virgo, so we can also give you a timeline with this, because this could be looking like any time between August and October, which is the Virgo to Libra season. Then maybe something can emerge that provides for you that love that you're seeking at this time. What I mean by love, because it's 2 of Cups, it can mean romantic, but it also means companionship, which means that I have a feeling that you like something a lot that you can't relate to a lot of people around you. And so the entry point of someone who may like that as well may be August or September-ish, okay? So the next energy is for the 4th house, and this is where Pluto is. This is a strong aspect to the conjunction. So it's a lot of, I think home base is very important for you, because at this time did I pull the card? I don't know if... Here, I'll pick a card for number 3. I got carried away with it. But, I pulled depth. And then there is harmony here. So for the 3rd house, it's going to work out. And I think that that's really sweet and endearing that you found something that you like. Okay, so now let's talk about the 4th house, which is strongly aspected to the conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter. And so it's where at home where everything is cooking, so your idea, your interest, your passions about things, your plans for the next direction, that's where it's all happening. It's very strong there at this time, and it's working very well for you. So if you're working, outside the house, because a lot of people have started working at home, but if you work outside the house, like you rush home after work just to work on this or have space for your ideas, you're just very much kind of like a magnet being pulled home. And home is kind of the home base where it's all happening. The next card is the Star card, which is the card of Aquarius. And then we have, or Destiny, then we have Sagittarian Temperance. And then we have the 5 of Wands. You guys know that when I call out the associations, they're just little kind of cues for certain people. So if you know Sagittarian, you're like, oh, that's for me. Or if you know Aquarian, you can think that that's for you. But it's not necessarily those things exclusively. It's just an association. Okay, so I do think as though you're creating something really beautiful close to home. And I think that you feel really good at home, or you're just feeling really good close to home at this time. And I think that there's this disconnect between what's happening so well for you close to home versus what's happening in the outside world. And so you're like, I wonder if this will translate well, if this will, if that will work in the outside world. So you're testing something out at home, it's going really well, but then you have questions about whether or not it's going to translate well to the outside world. So I think it will. This is saying that if you are creating something at home, it's really beautiful. You're really in the flow with the Star card and the Temperance card. So whatever you're making is very special. So we have, what is this? Willingness. The willingness. I just sense that there's a natural pull from you towards something specific that you're doing. There's like a passion that's emerged, an interest, something that's easy to do relatively. It doesn't mean that it's an easy task. It just means that it's something that drives you or stirs your imagination. So I'm just saying do it and don't doubt so much. One of the themes that we're seeing already in the first 4 houses is self-doubt. Maybe that happens when, I'm not saying your self-esteem is low. Some people's yes, other people no, right? But self-doubt often comes up when we're doing things alone, because then you're like, I'm putting all this time into it. How will anybody else like it? So I'm sure they'll like it well. And the cards are saying that, you know, you're onto something here. Okay. So next we have the 5th house. And so the 5th house is the house of romance, and it's the house of your kids. Saturn's in the 5th house. So if you're a single Libra, this may be a time in which romantic relationships may be challenging. If there's a particular type of partner that you go for, you may notice that, especially if they have some toxic traits, you may find that you've been, over the last year or so, exposed to that type of person, and life is kind of presenting you with reasons why you should not be attracted to that. So Saturn is showing you like what's not good. However, if you're in a good relationship, then things are really moving along. So if there's a lot of, if your relationships at this time are functional, like if they're really working well in a practical sense, then I think you're moving ahead with your partner or your boyfriend, girlfriend in good directions. So it's a very either make it or break it sort of transit. With regard to the conjunction, it's not necessarily such a strong angle. It's a semi-sextile, so it's kind of not here, your relationships aren't relevant to what's happening for you with this conjunction. However, this is a very strong placement for any Libra placements, especially those of you who have placements between 20 and 30 degrees of Libra, so right before Scorpio. Okay, so let's see what we get for the 5th house. I thought I didn't have my cursor on. I'm like, oh shoot, I've shown them 5 houses and I didn't even like, because I wasn't looking at my monitor, I was looking at this page where I'm doing this, and so I was like, oh shoot, I'm talking about all this and doing all that, and they're not even going to see it. I've done that several times, and it's kind of like, oh crap, like did that make any sense? Because obviously this is helpful for seeing what I'm referring to, right? Okay, so 5th house tarot cards, that's funny. I feel like really happy doing your guys' readings for the air signs. I feel a lot lighter. The water signs were super heavy, and fire signs were really intense last night. I was like just pulling my weight through it. Like it was just very, very heavy energy. For the air signs, I just feel lightness and like a fresh breeze, some fresh air. It's nice. So we have 9 of Swords in the 5th house, and then we have 3 of Wands. So, you know, for some of you who have gone, it could have some bumpy relationships in the recent past, hoping for something better. If you're waiting for someone who's hurt you, I think this is a clear sign that you should bounce. By the way, this is ruled by Mars in Gemini. Oh, this is Mars in Aquarius. Never mind. I was like, oh, a coincidence. Okay, no. It's Mars in Gemini up here. Sorry. I was excited. Not today, Batman. Okay, so, but if you're waiting for something that is, if you're waiting on someone, or if, you know, someone's causing you grief, I think that this is your pull away time. And I don't think that I think that things are going to really ramp up for you in a positive way. And so anybody who's a part and parcel of your past couple years who's brought negativity in, because negativity could come in for you through your partners in the past couple years alongside these transits. So if that's happened, then I think that it's almost, you know, when someone's being crappy and you're like, I don't even resonate with that anymore. So it's like, it's that energy of like, that doesn't make even sense. So you may have cared about them, but I think you're getting to a level in which whatever they're doing or whatever they're bringing, you're like, and your point is, it just does not make sense. So we have 3 of Wands and 6 of Pentacles. I think you're being constructive and moving forward. I think that there's possibility that some of you guys, and this is just for some of you, if your child has been going through a lot, which is the Nine of Swords, I could see you watching your child and really being sympathetic to their situation. And it looks as though you're about to give them some things, or, you know, just really kind of pump them up in some way. We have Six of Pentacles, which is Moon in Taurus. So there's definitely like material positivity there. And we have courage here as well. So courage for something, I think, yeah, I really feel as though either you're sympathetic to someone suffering and then you're going to bring them positivity. But I think for many of you, this could be you as well, which is the Nine of Swords, and in which case you're getting yourself out of a situation that could be problematic or hurtful or difficult to deal with, okay? And then we have the 6th house. This is where the magic is happening. And so this is the conjunction. This has to do with like how you lead your life. Life is going to get a lot easier for you with this transit. I just think that diversity is coming into your life. Be open to new opportunities, new things that you can do that will lead to good things and good outcomes. Let's see 3 cards for the 6th house. So we have the 4 of Pentacles, holding off on some things. Yeah, I did get the download. I didn't want to say it to be negative because it's like I can be pretty critical as a Virgo. So 4 of Pentacles can represent like holding back on something, not following through, resisting opportunities that are crossing your path. So the download was like, tell them to try different things and diversify your interests and go out and try all these different things. So you have the urge to go, and I'm just giving you a little nudge. We have the Hierophant here, reaching out towards community. Tauruses might be important for you at this time. And we have the Ace of Cups. So there's really something out there for you, a new community, a new group of friends. Don't rush it. I think it's going to come of its own way. But I do think that it's a social direction difference. I think your life's changing quite a bit. I think that you're right on the precipice of something different, a new lifestyle, a new way of living. And so don't resist the change. Good things are coming. And if you've already met this group of friends or these new connections and you're feeling, you're being cautious with it, I think that this is encouraging. I'm not going to tell you who to be friends with or not, but if you've met someone, especially if they have Taurus placements, then I think that there's some really good energy and understanding, tenderness, like hearing you out, understanding. For many Libras, I think that there may have not been a safe space for some time, and I think that that's what I was referring to, and I think that you're leading towards a much better space for that, a safe space. Okay, then we have the 7th house, and it's very similar to the 5th house in relation to the conjunction. Your relationships will function in a very similar way. And it's just not the point of this energy, but that doesn't mean it's not there and things aren't happening. We see the sun in Aries, so that's always benefic. That's always positive for your that's always positive for your love life. But Chiron is here. So, I mean, this is a long-term transit, and what I'll say essentially in relation to Neptune and Jupiter. I've called Jupiter before instead of Jupiter. Okay. So, but in relation to Jupiter and Neptune and the Chiron in the 7th house in Aries, I just feel as though you are prone to end relationships at this time and make changes, especially if they're causing you dissatisfaction, if they're holding you back from being yourself. You are very prone from distancing yourself or outright ending a situation. We have the sun, which is the sun, so now we can get excited. Sun in Aries exalted, and then we have the sun. And then there is the 2 of Cups, which is a friendship card. Very nice energy. And then we have somebody's making you feel really good about yourself. And I think that it's not necessarily just love, like it has to be the man or the woman. This could be a friendship. In fact, I feel like somebody is showing you camaraderie. Somebody is very, very well aligned to you, and they're making you feel really good. and it's their genuine friendship. So you have someone. Remember in the first three cards of the Brautele, this is nice little divine protection. It really felt like somebody was with you. It felt like someone was, was around. Somebody was bringing you some good vibes. So whether it's romantic or whether it's just friendship, somebody's making you feel really good about yourself, and it's just a nice time for you. But they're not the point of it. They're a secondary character, right? Like they're a side quest in the story. We have clarity. Okay, so clarity. Clarity, I think that, I have a contentious opinion. I mean, we all have contentious opinions about something. And I was talking to someone about it, and I'm so used to, someone, I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but I'm used to, or expect, actually, I don't really say this opinion very often. I expect to be rebuffed when I say it. And I said it to someone, and that person was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, wow, okay. And I felt so much better about it. So it's like someone approves of your opinion, or someone sees it the same way, and camaraderie. It's like it's a nice energy here. So I hope you enjoy that. I think it's the energy is complementary. So friendship energy for you is complementary at this time, which means that you're meant to do some things on your own, and yet there's some people there who are rooting for you, who are bringing you good energy and good luck. Okay, so this is a huge house for you, 8th house at this time. And so in relation to the conjunction, it's really powerful. I think they're working very closely together. And so essentially you're going to make changes in your life. You're going to, in some places, I try not to encourage impulsiveness, because things like narcissists seek impulsiveness. That's the number one character trait that narcissists go after. You think it would be something else, but it's impulsiveness. Impulsiveness can be kind of a dangerous thing, but having said that, you may feel very instinctual, like you have to make this change, or you have to go after something now at this time. Something just really becomes like an opportunity, something to look forward to. So we have the Queen of Pentacles, personal boundaries, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn sometimes. And then we have the Chariot, which is the card of Cancer, overcoming certain things, working through something, finally oh, look at this. Again, you're getting very, very good relationship cards. Now the 8th house is the house of intimacy, right? So 5th, 7th, and 8th houses have a lot to do with relationships. So it looks as though good days are coming. And I think maybe sidestepping away from something in the past that was detracting from your well-being. And for some of you, this will not be another relationship. For some of you, this will be a good friendship, or reconnecting with a sister or a brother or something else. But there's going to be like good reception, a change, a quick change, it feels like. So yeah, a change of the path, a quick change, great improvement, something to look forward to. Things are improving. Somebody's got your back, somebody's there. And then we have discernment. So I think that some of you are actually, this discernment card really hit home. It feels as though you're discerning between some of the people you've been spending time with and some of the people that you're being guided towards. And, it's discernment is funny, because we all have spent time with people who are not good for us, or people who bring bad energy. And something in us always told us that that's the case. But discernment is when you really get it, and when you act on that insight. So I think that you're making some good choices, as opposed to, I think good people are guided your way, but I think a big part of it is you're connecting the dots in your interactions with others, and it's putting you in the right situations. I think a lot of it has to do with the last couple years, where it really seemed as though like Libras really got pummeled over and over again. So I think that like whenever you go through a tough time, it also inspires you like, hey, I want a better quality of life. So I think that you're getting a spring in your step after this pressure is being alleviated a bit. Okay. So 9th house, this is a strong aspect for your placements, and not so strong for the conjunction between Neptune and Jupiter, but that's okay. So a lot to do with like where your ideas go. but there could be delays with regard to where you want to go. The positive or silver lining in that is don't get distracted. You're still going to get to where you're going. Don't get discouraged. You are still going to get to where you are going. Okay. So we have the Devil card. That's ambitious. For some of you, I think it may be to do with material gain. And then Justice. If you are dealing, and so first of all, I don't like giving like a couple different, I don't like medical astrology too much. I don't like financial astrology too much. I don't like things that you can see an expert on, and I don't think astrology is like, I think astrology alludes to it, and I don't think it's good literally for it. I think so in situations involving the law. So I told my little disclaimer. So first of all, go see a lawyer instead of Veroosh, right? But I just got this feeling that if some of you guys are dealing with the law in a certain situation that's holding you back, and somebody has been mean to you, that's the devil right here, and you're trying to keep them accountable for it, I think there's going to be some breakthroughs for you with regard to that. So finally some movement through a situation that was sort of stuck. And then we have the Two of Cups here. Movement to a better situation. It really feels, and I'll be honest, because I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I really had a feeling that there was a sense of, how do you say this, perpetual strain in your life from outside relationships that were giving you tension or struggle. And I think you're energetically, not necessarily just to do with practical things, something's pulling you out of it, and your dynamics with others are improving. And that doesn't have all to do with your personality. When we're talking about metaphysics, when we're talking about, spirituality and whatnot, there's like it's not necessarily logical, right? So just try, I think there's a shift that I'm seeing, okay? And some of it might be your doing, some of it might be their doing, but some of it might be just this temporal shift of energies. Okay, so then we have freedom. Exactly. That's what freedom from something that got stuck, and some good friends on the other side of it. So you're unstucking yourself energetically, unsticking yourself. Okay. So it feels good. Although there may be delays because the Neptune, the things you truly want to do, or the things that you truly want, are in some way, there's still like levels of complexity to them or whatever. Okay. So then we have the 10th house. This is career. And so this is very well aspected to this. Ambition, career, where am I going to, dream big. And it starts all like close to home. So you're like cooking something up, and it's not only in your house, it's also like how you spend your day and what you invest your time into. So be very conscious of that, where you're putting your effort. Okay, so we have Knight of Cups. Somebody's bringing you an offer because they really like you. That's the Knight of Cups energy. It can represent a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and it can represent a woman. So with gender, we always want to be kind of, I think you might want to step away from it though. Or maybe that you're looking back as you're stepping away from something. Somebody sweetens the deal for you in some way. And then we have the Ace of Swords. Something's calling you back, hey? It looks like something's calling you back. Something's giving you a better opportunity. Maybe you're about to quit and your boss is like, hey, want a raise? And you're like, that's exactly why I was going to quit. So maybe there's some kind of turnaround. Or but it also feels somewhat new. It feels like a new offering, or maybe a different department, or something's changing. Also, as you're going by, you might just come upon something, but it really feels like an offer is being made, a gift, and it comes from affinity, like somebody likes you or somebody's positively predisposed to you, and someone has abundance. So yeah, go for it. Again, my advice from the readings, or my interpretation of this, always use your best judgment and have your level head, but it feels like obedience, abundance. I saw it as abundance. Okay. Obedience. Okay. So I read it as abundance. So it does feel very abundant, but I think that obedience, I don't know. I just feel as though there's a harmony between yourself and someone else who is reaching out to you. So maybe that's where that comes in as well. Agreeableness, maybe that side of obedience, that you will be complicit to something that they want in a positive sense. So there's like a somebody, maybe it's pointing to the fact that somebody needs you as opposed to just want you. So for work, maybe for more, but this is the work house of career. Okay. Get your mind out of the gutter. Veroosh. Okay. So 11th house is the house of Leo. And so this is less intense with friends and stuff. I think friends are there and they're popping up as like helpful characters but in your life, but I don't think they're necessarily like front and center with what's going on with Jupiter and Neptune. So providing you insight, that's cool. And then we have the 7 of Cups. I have a feeling that you're distancing yourself from a lot of people you already know. A lot of the people we talked about here, they felt new or newish, new environments. I think that there's situations with your friends that are not feeling good, or they're complicated at best. So it's not necessarily something bad's happened, but I do think that because of confusion or misunderstandings or whatever level of negativity between you and them, that you've sort of pulled away. And at this time, you're either not in a space to revisit that or think about it. You're just sort of stepping back in some way. Okay, and then we have the card of communication. Here we go. So the communication, it really feels like it's not the time to talk about things. And I think that you're distracted, and maybe there's levels between you and established friends. And so maybe it doesn't feel like the end of friendships, by the way. It feels like there's complicated matters between you and them. And if you push too fast or too immediately, then I think that, when someone's angry, they can interpret it different ways. So I think that the feelings or the emotions are too heated at this time. Maybe. So be careful. Confusion with friends, lack of coordination, and insight, which is the High Priestess. So I have the feeling that you're like, I want to back out of this, or I want to back off. It's not feeling super comfortable at this time. Okay. It will change. It's just for now. And last house for Libra is the 12th house. And this is opposite of the conjunction. So that's pretty intense. I think that there's a big connection between your subconscious and what you're doing on the day-to-day. So I think that a lot of what's going on is being driven by like a deep internal knowing or understanding, and you're supposed to go through with that. So not everything's supposed to make sense. Some of it is going to be driven by your intuition and your subconscious. So the more that we can figure out in our lives, and this is true for everyone, how that subconscious works, and the more we can align with it, with our instincts, right? The better off we are. People tend to, we're not trained. We don't train kids to do that. And, and probably for a good reason in many ways, but I do think that our intuition is a powerful tool, and some people achieve, how about I say it this way? Some people achieve just amazing things by using it. Okay, so here is some cards for that. So I pulled 2 by mistake. There's some strong messages about Aquarius here. Aquarius, waiting for a soulmate, waiting for something special to come along. Anticipation. And then we have Page of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. There's a 12th house is the hidden enemy. Be careful of gossip and rumors. Mind your own business, and really be careful with dealing with certain types of people in certain situations. It's not bad. I just think that you're set your focus on the task at hand, and don't get caught up with people like snagging you in or roping you into their situations. We have beauty here. I think you're very much waiting for something, Libra. And I think many of you know what, or some of you just know that you're waiting for something, and you can feel it. You feel the anticipation, you know something good is coming, and you're just like, why can't it get here, or what am I missing to be able to get that? So I think it's close because it's showing up very strong. So be excited. And I think a lot of the oppression or opposition you've experienced is sort of gone now. So good luck, Libra. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. So we filmed for an hour, guys, which means that I have an appointment. So we can do one more sign, and then I think I'll have to do another one later. And I'm sorry I tried to fit everything in, but I didn't want to compromise the reading for like quality. So we'll just do the Gemini reading, and Aquarius was going to go last. If you look in the description, I've already set the order. So we'll do Gemini just in case, and just so I'm not late for my meeting, and then Aquarius is going to get their own video. If that's okay, we can get weird alone. Okay. And I'll film it and post it tomorrow morning or something. I'll figure it out. So yeah, sorry, Aquarians. I hope you guys can hang in there. You guys are pretty good with waiting. So I hope that I don't offend anyone. And by then the moon will be in Libra. So that's going to be good for your sign, the air sign. Okay. All right. So Gemini. Hi, Gemini. How are you doing? So first of all, the conjunction is in your career. And I think that we've been talking about this for several years about, I remember for like 4 years that there's something coming in your career. Big deal, big deal, big deal. Something's working itself out in your career, and there's great opportunity coming your way. And there's been, it's been working up to this for quite some time, and many aspects of your previous experiences in the last couple years have really led up to this place. I also want to give you guys a bit of a timeline with this kind of download. This is just my introductory remark. The North Node is in Taurus, which for your placement isn't necessarily the strongest transit. But once it gets into Aries, that's going to really rock and roll. So it doesn't mean nothing's happening before that time, but I would say that if you're like, oh, I can sense something's coming, when the North Node hits Aries next June or July 2023, then it's going to really ramp up. You might be working up to that energy before then, but yeah, that's in terms of timing that I can give you a little bit of a timing. Be careful with astrology and timing. I think you can catch things, but I think there's a lot of misses. But yeah, if you take it with a grain of salt kind of advice, then that could be it. Okay. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Gemini. First of all, we're going to do the Oracle cards. So we have the coming out. Are you guys coming out? Coming out and going to tell me? Am I going to be the first one to know? That'd be so cool. Write me an email if you want to come out to someone, and you can come out to me anytime. Boy, girl, whatever. Tell me anything. Send me an email with your secrets. Okay, so we have breaking, coming out, breaking. And it's the 10th house, so it's kind of funny because the 10th house isn't just career and social standing. It's like who you are in the world. So if you're coming out, congratulations. That's a wonderful thing on whatever secret that you're hiding. Okay, so breaking and coming out. So I think that a layer of who you are is emerging, and that's what I was referring to. I think this is what's coming. I think it's going to change your life, and I think that, yeah, it's just another layer towards deeper authenticity. So pretty exciting stuff. The next message is the soul, number 54, and then we have the growth, soul and growth. Okay. Well, that just is self-explanatory, right? Self and soul and growth. I think that, yeah, I just think that I think you've had, Libra and Gemini both have had some pretty trepidatious energy for the last few years. And I think that it sort of has been working through for you on multiple levels. So it's worked on the physical and emotional, spiritual, mental. Like there's just been a lot of expansion and a lot of experiences that have challenged you in many ways. And so I think that there's like a lot of expansion. You're coming into your own. I have a sense that you're much more prone to say no to the things you don't want and yes to the things you do want. So there's a much more take charge attitude here. And then we have opening, number 69. And I like this card because it has the key on it. It's very nice little. These are light language cards. So there's an opening here. And then we have manifesting. So number 74. Big messages about life changing, huh? So there's just, you've reached a certain place and you're making things happen. You're putting things into play. So we have coming out and breaking. So surrender to something about yourself. So I made a little bit of a joke about that one thing, but you know, really coming to terms and being good with an aspect of who you are and emerging through that energy. Soul and growth, we have presence. Okay, so of course, like when you have good soul growth, you have an unshakable presence. So, you know, when you're really there in the spirit of authenticity and who you are and a deeper connection to yourself and to the world around you, then there's that sense. I feel like this is like a Zen master guru kind of energy. It's very nice and it's very centered, and I think you've dealt with your stuff a lot. I think you've dealt with your stuff a lot, and that's emerged. You have emerged a lot. Opening and manifesting. So there could be a sibling or a cousin that is helping you with this. If you don't have siblings or cousins, or if they suck, then this could be a close friend or some other very close person to you. So I think somebody is going to be opening an opportunity up for you, and I think it's closely aligned to your personal growth that you have achieved in the last little while. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Let's take a look at the astrology, and then we'll get into the individual house reading. Okay, so first of all, we have the conjunction right in your 10th house. So this is an expansion point for your career and for who you are in the world. In the back end, so if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know this, but if you're sort of new and you haven't been watching my channel a lot, the focus has been, or if no one else told you, the focus has been in your 8th house, which is your house of transformation. And so especially 2019 through 2021, it's really been heavy in this area of your life. This is the house of death. It's the house of Scorpio. And so it's been very grueling for some of you and very like take you down to your knees kind of energy. And some people could like religiously akin that to like a dark night of the soul or some kind of spiritual depth, you know, past some difficult path that leads to transcendence. But without keeping it too just religious and just in terms of spirituality, I think you've gone through a lot, and thereby hopefully you've learned a lot, and now it's your time to emerge out of all that knowledge and learning. And so these placements, they're very personal. They're very like how your clock is ticking. The North Node isn't so easy of a placement for Gemini placements in the 12th house, but it's still like in terms of where it is, it's still beautiful. There's not a bad place for the North Node. The North Node is in your 12th house, in the depth of your subconscious. It just really is working foundationally with regard to who you are. And Uranus in the 12th house is making you prone to accepting, being flexible, or flexibility in others. It's your wiring is very open to different perspectives or different ways of looking at things. So very flexible approach to some heavy times that have happened. And that's leading to this boom expansion. And I think it's been in the works for a while. So whatever you're beginning, just go with it. That's very nice energy. Okay. Oh, I don't want to do that. So now let's talk about your first house. So if you've seen any of the other videos, we're just going to pick some tarot cards for each one. So we have the Four of Wands first. Okay, so Four of Wands, home, family, happiness, Some of you guys have made big life decisions about setting up yourself in a different place or a new place. And this isn't so much the house of travel or that, but it's more like being exposed to a new community. If you have Gemini sun and you get this a lot, don't freak out. This is ruled by Sun in Gemini. So I think it's really saying goodbye to a chapter in your life at this time, and you're really ready for a new beginning. I think many of you are in a new environment. They already are in a new town or a new place. Okay? And I think that there's this kind of stepping away from stress of the past, a deep breath in, a deep breath out, and sort of being able to move past difficult things in your past. So it's really stepping through to the next chapter in your life. Okay. So we have the second house placements. So this is very well aspected to the position of the Neptune-Jupiter conjunction. So that means that if you get into the flow of things, if you really double down with things, you're going to probably make a lot of money. So a lot of opportunity and a lot of good luck. If you're not seeing it yet, be patient and keep coming towards it with positivity. When you say no, there's nothing there, you're focused on that, and it's very hard for opportunities to come in, and even when they come in, you're just sort of not receptive to them. So try to, regardless of what your situation is, try to be open to what possibilities come. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. This could represent a contract that you're signing. If you're signing a contract right now, it might be very, very lucky. And then Nine of Pentacles, I told you, lots of money. That's Venus in Virgo. And then we have the Tower here. So making a huge change. Don't be afraid of the Tower. This, I think that essentially you're just sort of making a decision about your life that's going to be hugely transformative. So be excited about that. Oh, I want to pick an angel card for you. Sorry. I'm getting caught up. Okay, so we have strength, personal strength. Just something is changing for the better. And I just feel as though you're really leaving some things behind that are detrimental to your well-being, and you're stepping towards something that's abundant. Okay, so next is the third house. I got to keep my cursor on the actual house because I'll lose track of what house we're in. Okay, so third house, communication, siblings, neighborhood, less important with this one. So we have the Star. That's lucky. That's fated events, fated connections. We did have that energy about someone helping you. Is that what happened? Then we have the Hermit. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. I think that like people are watching you do something, but I think you're doing it on your own for the most part. I think that maybe like siblings or friends or family are watching you do this and that, but I think that you have, how do I say this? You have your own vision to things that you've been working on. So Hermit could be Virgo, but it can mean you just taking a certain path. And I think you are supported by people who are close to you, siblings, cousins, but I don't think that they're necessarily a deep part of what you're up to. Then we have humor. Are they making fun of you? Are they teasing you for what you're doing? If they're making fun of you, the joke's probably on them, because when you're really successful, when it really clicks in with what you're doing, it's gonna show up in their life. Okay, it's not gonna show up in their life. It will show up in their life, but the joke's on them. Sorry, it's getting hot in here because the sun's about to come. But that's okay. We're good. Okay, so fourth house. So this is opposite of where Jupiter and Neptune is. And so therefore, this focus in the house, this energy is pulling you away from the house, away from what's familiar. And so, it's really outwardly who you are in the world, your phone is going off the hook, like the world wants your attention. Your private space is completely understated and there's just not much going on there. But I think that from your private space, you can really reflect upon all the things ahead of you that are changing. So it's a good thing. It's a good place for you to reflect upon you know, the changes in the world and what you are doing. I think also things are happening very quickly for you. So you need a place to slow down and think about things, weigh things out. Two of Pentacles. Oops. And then we have Six of Pentacles. And then let's do King of Wands. Okay, so somebody could be giving you an offer, and somebody could call you at home and say, hey, do you want to do this? And then you're going to have to figure it out. I do think it's a good offer, and I do think that there's money behind it. So someone is giving you a path forward, something for you to consider. And I think it's deeply tied to the changes that are happening in your life. So I would say consider it towards take it. But again, I try not to tell you guys which choice to make. And then we have Compassion. By the way, the reason I misread some of the cards is because through the viewfinder, I'm trying to read it through the viewfinder. And as you can see, it's not very clear. I don't know if somebody feels sympathy for you or what it is, but I think somebody is helping you out. This could be like fourth house is family, so it can literally be a family member, but I think somebody is giving you help or a push forward out of sympathy, out of compassion. And I think that, I don't know why you're weighing it out, but I think that whatever it is, maybe it involves a lot of commitment, or maybe it involves a big change. And so you're like, this isn't the right time, but it feels like a good situation. So there's money behind it, and there's things you can trust behind it. So be excited about that. Okay, so next we're going to do the fifth house. And again, this is one of the houses, like fifth and seventh house, the relationship houses. They're not necessarily the strongest for this transit here. It's much less for you about a personal relationship or love. Although love can happen, it's just not what this transit is about. Not super, connected. Okay, so fifth house, we have Seven of Pentacles, waiting on something. I have a feeling that you have a pretty skeptical view to love at this time. I think that you're worried about broken heart, or worried about any type of situation that's going to work against you. And I think that the money, this is a card for being single, by the way. It's Venus in Virgo, and Venus is in detriment in Virgo. But it's good for money, but it's not necessarily good for your romantic life. So there's long-term goals that you're trying to achieve. And I think that romance is deprioritized for you at this time. I just don't think you're very much focused on who you are in the world. And for many of you, this involves a sizable amount of change. And if everybody's been through change, and so when you're in change, you're not necessarily so open to love. That's what it feels like. Like things are moving too fast to even slow down to consider it. But we have celebration. You're happy about what you have. You're happy on your own, and you don't want to jinx it. You don't want to ruin it. So you're I do think that you're apprehensive towards others, or you're apprehensive towards others, you're apprehensive towards, you're apprehensive, towards others, or you're apprehensive towards risking it, okay? So we have the sixth house next, which is the south node with Scorpio. And this is really strongly aspected to this. This means, especially with regard to Neptune, Jupiter, change some of your habits at this time that are detracting from your success. So this is a really good time to work on your personal habits and what you do well or what you do less well, and focus on refining the good things and getting rid of the bad things. It's a really good year for you to address your habits, your daily habits kind of thing. And it's a once in a 20-year transit almost. And so because it happens so rarely, once every 20 years, I think that because it happens so rarely, I think that it's a great opportunity, and I wouldn't miss it, because it can really set you in a good direction and really make certain things accessible. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this is Jupiter. And then we have the Three of Swords. I just feel like the Three of Swords is referencing that Capricorn stellium that you were having, which means that whatever's happened in your life has really deeply affected you. You are moving away from it, but there is residual hurt, especially from the relationships that weren't what they should have been to you. So I think that that's what the Three of Swords refers to. And we have the Star. Work through certain things. There's a lot waiting for you. There's a lot of Jupiter, good luck, and Star is good luck. And this is kind of fated experiences, and the Three of Swords in some way is let go. I sense that maybe you hold back a bit because of being sad, because of heartache, because of being hurt. And I think that this is saying, like, try to get over those things as much as possible so that you can receive the lucky things at this time. Let's see the Oracle card. So we have Awakening. Yeah. So do things on a daily basis that wake you up, that kind of bring you back to center with who you want to be. And we all have ebbs and flows, right? You've gone through a long year and a half in which the North Node was in Gemini. There was a hyper focus on your sign, and now it's a little bit less so. So catch your breath and then, go do the things that you want to do. Integrate and then be successful. Okay, so we have 7th house next. And so this is opposite your sign, but it's less necessarily, how do you say this? It's less positively aspected to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. So again, partnership issues could be creating, if you have lots of partnership stuff going on, that could really be detracting from this transit, from your career and your public life and whatever's going on with that. But hopefully you're being protective of it, and hopefully you're allowing yourself to thrive from it. Let's see the next message. We have the Three of Pentacles, and then we have the Four of Pentacles and Six of Wands. It really feels as though you're meant to move past situations, and this actually comes up more as a work type situation. Three of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. It feels like begrudging energy from people around you with your work, and there's success, you moving past that. Don't give so much of your time away at this time, especially to things involving work, and especially situations that are creating resistance for your success. You want as much time as possible for you at this time. You want to really nurture that, and you have intention. So I think that you're positively surprised by how good a situation has worked out. I do think that there's reverence for what you do in your job, but I do feel there's resistance too. And I think that somebody's being a smart butt, they're being a smart ass. So they're in some way, they have or they are at this time making their situation better at your expense. And so I think you're getting past that, you're moving on that, and try to not allow that situation to eat up so much of your time. So it's very much moving past the unruly people in your life, okay? And I don't have to tell you this, but that's what's coming up. Then we have the 8th house, which is the house of change, transformation. This is huge for this transit, and it's huge for your chart. So I think it's much more in the past tense now, because that transit finished up in February, but we have Mars in Gemini, 9 of Swords. And then we have the High Priestess. I just think you're very prone to not allowing that same level of hurt back in your life. And I think that you're very discerning about what you let in and what stays away. I think maybe some of you are even on the edge of denying things to people. So in other words, maybe you're even a little bit critical at this time because of the past, because you're so defensive. This can only suggest that if you're doing it too much, ask yourself, am I doing this too much? Am I being too dismissive? If that's the case, if you're being too dismissive, try to challenge that for yourself. Some of the things coming your way are very positive, and you don't want to push them away. Okay? So let's see the next message. We have the Integrity card. Okay? So maybe that's the point at which you can ask whether somebody's approaching you with good energy or bad. Are they coming to you with integrity? And, maybe it's time to move past the heartache or disappointments or the difficulties that have plagued you in the past. Maybe it's time to separate yourself from those negative emotions and embrace something good. Okay, then we have the 9th house. So this is ideas. Saturn is here. This is very well for you as a sign, but it's not necessarily the strongest aspect for the conjunction. It's very practical time for you, Gemini, sorry. It's very practical time for you, Gemini, because it's a time in which what you do matters most than your ideas about it, if that makes sense. So Libra, on the other hand, is all ideas right now. All ideas. Yours has a lot to do with what you've practically done and what you're doing now and the consequences of it. So much more action-oriented, and Libra's is much more to do with, dreams and ambitions and first being a visionary. You are being a visionary, but you're already in some way kind of a part of that reality of where you are going or what's becoming for you. You've practically put effort into being what you are. Okay. So we have the Chariot here, which is coming to terms with certain things. I think really getting away from others' opinions is a big energy for you. Then we have the Two of Cups, very nice energy. And then we have the Temperance card. Supportive environments. I think with Saturn there, what this could be pointing to is moving away from the criticism of others, moving away from situations that are harsh or critical or not too friendly. If someone said something to you that was disparaging in the past, I think you're finding your way around it. Re-entering the arts, re-entering creativity, putting your ideas out there a bit more as opposed to holding them back. So you've been scathed intellectually in some way. Scathed meaning like someone said something or did something that felt kind of harsh and it sort of messed with your head a little bit. And so now you're finding your way to be back through that. You figured your way through it. So you have enthusiasm, being really excited about your ideas, being really excited about the things you want, whatever someone said to you or did to you that made you hold back on your own concepts a little bit. I think that you're sort of moving past whatever they have tried to condition you with or that. So you're being more free-spirited or more authentic to your own true creativity, to your own ideas, okay? And then we have the 10th house conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. And so this is where the conjunction's going on. It's huge for you. You're one of the placements that this is actually very prolific for because it's in the 10th house. The air signs overall with this energy, they're not necessarily directly, all of us are impacted by this. This is very rare, but the air signs specifically are less so. But for you in the 10th house, this could be a very monumental moment in your life in which a way clears for your way through. You figure it out. So we have Tower first, some drastic change. It's okay. See, 9 of Pentacles. If you guys know how I pick, I don't really look and I just cut and pull the cards. So like a book. So 9 of Pentacles and the 4 of Swords. Moving past the situation, taking your money with it and getting rest. So this could literally mean a job change, payout, and like finally you're done with it. Or a bad situation that needs to go gets removed and then you step into a good situation and then you get rest. Okay, let's see the next message. If you're, again, I'm not giving legal advice, but if you are in some way in a legal dispute, you might see a payout. And we have honesty, right? So your honesty has been vindicated. There's honesty that's brought to the situation and there's financial rewards as a byproduct of it. Whatever you have been standing by your word or your ideas, that is translating into practical things. And something that's been occupying your mind is being removed and you're moving past it, and now you're more free to be you and do the things that you want to do. Okay? So that's very good. Jupiter is the law, by the way. It's not necessarily like the it is the legal system also, but it's also like it's a higher form of law also. So justice is brought to your career. It's just an elevated position here, and it's in rulership in Pisces, as we've said. It's very lucky. In the tarot, it's the Nine of Pentacles. It's just good things. Very, very lucky transit. And as Mars enters into Pisces, that even makes it stronger. So that's interesting. So we have Chiron in Aries and Sun in Aries in the 11th house. Let's see the next message. Chiron in Aries, Sun in Aries. Let's see. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles. So this is your 11th house, your friendship. You receive a piece of information about one of your friends or like a friend of a friend that really helps you make a decision with regard to it. This may be a critical decision. Maybe you're getting finally some clarity on a situation that wasn't clear before. So there was like gossip or allusions to things, like things that, like things that weren't also so very clear. And now you're getting to act on it, and you're getting like information on a situation. It really feels as though you getting to the bottom of something, which is allowing you to take a stand or take a certain step. I think it's someone or something has been hurtful to you, and now you're responding to it. I think that someone or something has, like, a friend betrayal, but you couldn't really pinpoint it, some kind of thing. You got to the bottom of it, and now you're kind of really asserting that. And then we have exploration towards new friends. It's really a time for you to branch out. When Jupiter enters into your 11th house, that's going to be really nice. That happens in May for a few months, and then later this year. So you have, maybe it's a time in which you're doing a little bit of a purge with friends, people who weren't considerate of your emotions and sort of broke away from your reality. And now it's time to kind of, I feel as though a burden is being removed from your shoulders with this, which means that either you were kept from the truth on a situation, or for whatever reason, you were not being told the truth or kind of held back. Now you know what's going on, and you're free because of it. So you some information that is helping you to make a critical decision, and you're definitely kind of taking control. This is ruled by Mercury, so this is your card. So that's a nice card to have. Okay, so last but not least is the North Node in Taurus in the 12th house, and that's very strong for the conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. And so a lot of this for you, it is practical in terms of the things you've done, but like what you're onto is driven so much more by instincts and by deeper things. So trust yourself. There's something guiding you. If it doesn't fully make sense, that's okay. There's something within you that's saying go this direction, and that's why you've chosen the direction you're on. So it's peculiar. It's not necessarily logic. It's not necessarily reason. There's instinct and there's gut in there, like you're deciding with your guts. Okay, so we have the Fool, new beginnings. Some of you might be scratching your head at why you made certain choices and changes recently. And then we have the Queen of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And then we have the somebody was confusing you. The Queen of Cups and the Seven of Cups. Somebody was lying, confusing, spreading false information. And I think that you've made the right decision. And I also think you second-guessed this because I think you trusted this person, or you still do trust this person. You're like, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know how to relate to this. So I think that, I just think that whatever, you're starting a new path and it's a good thing. And I think that it's confused by someone with duplicitous intentions, but that was the past. This situation is referring to something in the past, and I think that in some way you're questioning that to a certain extent. You're still questioning it, or there's like you're confused by it because there was so much confusion, emotional confusion, lies, gossip that was brought in that sort of obfuscated your clear vision of what's going on. So it could be I sense frustration and I sense doubt. And I think that you need to come to terms with that and still go your own direction. People are toxic, right? And so the 12th house can be very toxic because it's like the hidden enemy. So someone who's being a backstabber, not a true friend. So, and it could, the thing is with many people, they can really work against you and not even know it. They may think, oh yeah, we're fine, but their actions, so judge them by their actions and judge them about behind the things you know about them, not necessarily just the nice things they're saying. So we have understanding. Yeah, really understanding where things went wrong, what went wrong. There's piles of lies with regard to something, and you get a new beginning. By the way, this is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in your 12th house. So we have another nice connection there. So yours went really fast. The first one Libra's went really slow. But I still can't stay to do Aquarius, and it's better if I just film it later and post it tomorrow, or film it tomorrow. Aquarians, I'm really sorry, you guys. I'll do your video tomorrow. We'll do a separate video just for you. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching this series. Aquarians, if you want a short message for the conjunction, there is a video that I put out, the all sign video, and it's called The Greatest Conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune, and I did that yesterday, so there's good info there for you guys. Everyone who's watching live, thanks for coming to hang out, and I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for all the likes and all the comments and all of that stuff. I hope you're having a nice day, and we're still under the Neptune and Jupiter conjunction, right? So make sure that you're still bringing positivity in your life, live with good energy, and just, be with the good energy, okay? So yeah, it's a really good path, and I think you need to really have a little faith here that it is sending us in good directions.